Alrighty, so we have some more dev app leaks, and this one is pretty interesting. So obviously, as a disclaimer, with all of these dev app sort of videos, or just leaks in general, take it with a grain of salt, because some of this stuff, as he always says, he says this information isn't leaks, it's data of the developer app, so this information could probably change in the future. It could release months later or never release. So it's basically just stuff that they're experimenting with or just have added to the developer only app that they're kind of playing around with or experimenting or just testing out, or whatever. So none of this is subject to be added to the game indefinitely, but some of this stuff is a decent indicator because, I mean, some of this, is almost like a given. So some of it will most likely make it into the game. It just depends on when. So let's go over some of this stuff because it's really cool. So new festival coins. There apparently is going to be a new Elizabeth. I'm not exactly sure what this Elizabeth could be per se, because, I mean, honestly, I don't really know of another like form of Elizabeth that wouldn't be just like Goddess Liz, but I don't know. I don't remember her really getting a whole lot of extra stuff towards the end of the show. But I mean, I'm sure it might just be another Goddess Liz with like a different moveset or something along those lines. I don't really know. Festival coin for Gother, which is very interesting. Obviously, I kind of expect it to be the Gother of Selflessness, the original Gother. If you've watched the show, he's in, I think it's season 4, or yeah, I think he's introduced at season 4 as far as like the dubbed like Netflix version. I think it would be considered season 3 for the subbed or Japanese version. But yeah, so the Gother that like sits in the chair and everything like that. I think a lot of people have been kind of waiting for a festival Gother at this point because he was kind of next in line. It was pretty much going to be a toss up between him and Bon, and Bon pretty much took the last normal festival, not the Holy War festival. So yeah, next up is Gelda, which is very, very interesting because she is a vampire race. I assume she will just be lumped in with unknown race because you can see here that all the vampires and stuff like that they're kind of experimenting with and have been for the last several months are all under unknown race. I don't know if they'll end up adding a vampire race section in the future maybe, but it seems like they're just going to kind of be lumped in with the unknowns, which is fine. Maybe it might end up making the unknown section a little bit better. Plus it'll kind of help cut down on teams that you can use like Green Gother with, which is great, honestly, because with him being so exclusive, it's hard to recommend people use certain units, because obviously if you can't use Green Gother's passive, you would want to use Red Gother or maybe just another unit in general. So yeah, Gelda is honestly really interesting. Obviously, if you don't know who Gelda is, maybe some of this is spoilers, so be careful, I guess. But yeah, Gelda's kind of a really interesting one. I don't really know if I would consider her to be festival worthy, but yeah, I don't even know what her moves would be because I don't really think she fights all that much in the show, if I'm not mistaken. But I could have just forgotten her fighting in the show. But anyway. Moving on, so we have obviously the unknown races. They've pretty much had this unknown race all vampires thing down for the last couple of months, so I don't exactly know when they're going to try to add vampires. I would assume it's going to be sometime around the time that they make Gelda a festival unit, if they end up pursuing that. So very interesting there. Demon race, obviously they're thinking about putting in maybe a new Estarossa, which is a given, like with where we're at in the storyline and stuff like that. Progressing forward, I would assume a new Estarossa is almost a given. If not a festival Estarossa, it should be sometime in the future. So yeah, but he's not a festival coin so far, just a regular demon race Estarossa, which is interesting because we're not seeing an angel race Estarossa just yet, so it's not like Mael or anything. But yeah, apparently maybe a new Gother unit is coming. I think that eventually they will probably make a blue Gother that can rank up. I just really hope that he's not exclusive like Green Gother is, but either they're going to give rank up to a new blue Gother, like a blue SSR Gother. Actually, there already is a blue SSR Gother, but he does not have rank up. So interesting. I don't know. They might end up making like a new brand of Gother, kind of like how they've been doing, like the newest Merlin unit is like her own unit. At least she doesn't share costumes with the older Merlins. They may end up doing something like that with Gother. Grey Road, obviously they've had Grey Road in the last couple of ones of these. I still don't really understand what the holdup was on this unit the entire time, because the Grey Road was introduced in season 2, and we're well past that at this point. So kind of late, but I'm sure people will be excited when they finally add that. A new Chandler and a new Cusack are very interesting. I almost wonder what they would do per se, because I mean, obviously Chandler and Cusack are a little bit more relevant towards the end of the show, but I don't know for sure. Like, I don't remember them doing well. I mean, they have a pretty decent amount of screen time, and they do a decent amount of fighting and everything like that, so I can definitely see them maybe having extra like movesets and stuff like that to give these characters. But with Cusack being a festival unit that they just added, I almost wonder if they're going to try to do a festival Chandler at some point, or whatever the case may be, because I would assume they'll probably share the same ultimate and cosmetics, hopefully, since there's only one set of Chandlers and one set of Cusacks at the moment, but I don't know, can't ever be sure with that. But they are new, so yeah, interesting. Human race, I think all of this stuff has not changed too much. Obviously, there has been a lot of leaks recently about a new Griamore, a new Hauser, and a new Gilthunder coming out, and I think they've already sort of made the holy relics for those. If not, they're just kind of like cosmetics. I would assume they're the holy relics though, because I don't know why you would make just a weapon, because it seems like the holy relics do seem to be weapons. So yeah, we pretty much know already that Griamore, Hauser, and Gilthunder are going to be getting one, and then last time they already said that they were trying to work on a new Dreyfus and Hendrickson unit, which is interesting. I think Shin only has 2 units at the moment, so giving a third Shin wouldn't be the biggest thing in the world. Hopefully he's decent, because with the new Easton and Mono that just came out on JP, it seems like they're pretty lackluster, honestly. Like, the Mono seems okay, but I don't know, some of these like extra side characters, like I honestly can't imagine like a new Griamore, Hauser, or Gilthunder being very good, but maybe they'll do something interesting with them so that way they can actually compete in the meta, or maybe they'll be PvE units or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I don't know, a lot of these side characters, like I really just I don't see them giving them really crazy stats or like super crazy kits that can actually compete, but we'll just have to wait and see. Veronica is also a very interesting one that I would like to see. I'm assuming she would be some sort of support style unit. And then Escanor is down here as well. We don't have a blue base Escanor, and from my understanding a little while back, I think there were some leaks about there being a potential Halloween Escanor for this year's Halloween unit, which could be pretty interesting. Maybe there will be a blue Escanor on Halloween, so maybe that all kind of fits in with the recent leaks or anything like that. Goddess race is Tarmiel and Sariel. I would like to see a new Sariel and Tarmiel unit, honestly. Now that Ludo basically has 2 units, I know it's not the same Ludo. Obviously, the second one is in Margaret's body, but yeah, honestly, I think there was some leaks about them being in there. I can't remember who the guys. It's like Solaseed and somebody else. I can't remember the one that Tarmiel takes over, but both of them end up taking over someone else's body, and then yeah, so it could be those versions of the Sariel and Tarmiel units, potentially. I don't know for sure. And then this is also very interesting. Collaborations are Tensura, which obviously there's been a little bit of leaks of. A lot of people have been waiting and kind of like sort of I guess really saving up a lot of gems for the Tensura collab, because from the leaks that we got, the units that were going to be coming around this time for the season 2 units seem like they're going to be really good. So I definitely understand why people are saving for these. And so yeah, down here he does say festival unit incoming. It'll probably release after Griamore, Hauser, and Gilthunder. So I just want to say that I think the Tensura collab is probably going to be a little bit further away. I would imagine with with them sort of having a lot of leaks recently about Agria Morehauser and Gilthunder, I think that they're probably going to be the next units that come out on JP or Korea. Obviously, that's just all speculation from me. There's no actual evidence to back that up, but I could definitely see those being like filler units, and then maybe a festival after that. I would assume that maybe they're going to try to tie in the Tensura collaboration event with the release of the new slime game that's coming out towards November. So if there is if there's a Griamore unit next, or a Griamore Hauser and Gilthunder unit coming out next, we literally just got a banner yesterday on JP that would put it on the 23rd, and then a festival after that, and then I think it's the end of November when that game is coming out. So if there was a festival on the 7th of October, that would put us all the way down through October for the festival, and then maybe the half, the half festival banner that they end up doing 2 weeks into the festival could potentially be a Halloween banner. And then once those go away, we would be into November when they could try to work on doing the Tensura collab. So I think that would make sense in my head. Obviously, I don't work there or anything. I have no idea which units they have the most progress on or anything like that. So obviously, just speculation from me. But collaborations are Netflix and Netmarble. So I just briefly kind of pulled up some of the things that Netflix has as far as original animes go. Obviously, one of the newest ones is Record of Ragnarok. And it's pretty popular so far. So that could be a potential one. Which it is Netflix. They could end up just being or trying to bring the Stranger Things collab back. But honestly, I play a couple of different games that have done collaborations with Netflix, or as far as like Stranger Things go, and it seems like they're trying to pull a lot of that stuff away from those games. So I don't necessarily think that they're going to try to rerun Stranger Things. But looking through some of these, I know Beastars is also very popular. Other than that, there wasn't anything super crazy. Eden Zero, I don't think is necessarily popular, but it's newer. Fate is obviously very popular, but I don't necessarily know if they would consider that to be a Netflix collab, really. High Rise Invasion is apparently pretty popular, and yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's just all speculation. There's not anything super specific here, but I don't know. Shaman King is also kind of popular, I think, so it could potentially be something like that. I don't know, but obviously very interesting. And then as far as Netmarble games go for mobile titles, I guess we could look at their PC and console games, but they actually don't have anything under PC? Yeah, they do. Okay. I don't really think it would be anything like that. Seven Knights actually has a mobile game as well. I could see maybe some characters from the Ni no Kuni Crossworlds game potentially, but I kind of doubt it. It's a Korean only game at the moment, or not Korean only, but they only have Asian servers at the moment. And then there's a couple of other games that they have that are kind of popular. Fate Grand Order. I think all of the Fate stuff is kind of popular, but Seven Knights and the Knights Chronicle I know are two of their games that are relatively popular. So I honestly don't know for sure. They do have a King of Fighters game. They may be trying to bring the King of Fighters collab back, which would honestly be kind of good because some of the King of Fighters units were actually pretty good, one of them being Kyo. But obviously we'll just have to kind of wait and see. None of that is all set in stone or anything like that, and collaborations are very fickle, so it's very easy for collaborations to kind of sort of start the process but never go through, or end up getting dropped because it's a bunch of licensing and all kinds of different stuff like that. So that's definitely something that I would take with a huge grain of salt. But as far as the Tensura collab goes, I think that's the most I think that's the one that we probably have the best chance of getting for sure. Seven Deadly Sins Ragnarok units, and I wasn't exactly sure what he was talking about with this, but I'm assuming what he means here is it's going to be a unit that has the same ultimate as another unit. So he has King here, which is I guess has the same ultimate as the Small Wings King, which is the festival unit. Obviously the one that has the Abyss effect, which is not super great, but this is apparently going to be a new king. I would assume they're going to share, just like with the Lost Vein Meliodas that they added a blue Lost Vein, and he has the same ultimate, and he shares cosmetics and everything like that. It's going to be something similar to that situation. So it looks like there's going to be a new king that is it's going to share cosmetics and stuff with the Winged King, the Festival King, a Merlin that is going to fit into the same category as the new Truth Seeker Merlin, the new Summer Unit Merlin. So that is also very interesting. And then there is going to be a Bond that has the same ultimate as Purgatory Bond, so his outfits and stuff should fit over on this new one, which is very interesting. So I don't know necessarily if that means that this is going to be another HP based unit, because obviously the way Purgatory Bond's ultimate works is off of HP, so it could end up being some sort of HP unit, kind of like regular Purgatory Bond is at the moment, and you could maybe, I don't know, use the same kind of team and subslot the new Bond on here, or whatever the case may be. We'll just have to kind of see whenever those units come out, but definitely very interesting. I think I'm most excited for a new version of Festival King, just because the one that we have right now is very, very not really, I don't want to say bad, but he's very, very situational on whether or not he can actually win and do good, because the meta, like pretty much as soon as he released, was just really bad for him, and it just never picked up. So very unfortunate for him. Hopefully they make a new king that can use the Abyss effect very well. Maybe his kit will be better, or his passive will be better. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see on those. But obviously King and Bond would be very interesting units there. So here we go. Final boss finished skins. So I think we had already pretty much had some sort of leak saying that Gerard and Matrona were going to be getting one. I don't necessarily understand why they would partner these two units specifically, but I guess that's cool, really. It doesn't really matter to me. They're not really units that I would be like actively seeking outfits for, or just like a fun final boss thing, which some of these like side characters like this one and then the Zenari and Jenna one could be sort of like the final boss Twigo or final boss Griamore, where it's not necessarily you're going to get an outfit out of it, but it's just sort of like a filler final boss that they end up running, where you can just sort of get exchange shop materials and stuff like that, and get some extra diamonds and stuff like that for just running it and trying to get a decent score on it. So they might not even have final boss outfits per se. The Arthur one is very interesting though, because if I'm not mistaken, there has been an outfit for Arthur that looks like a final boss outfit, and it has been in the game files for well over like a year and a half at this point. Like it has been in the game files, like it got added like almost a couple of months after Global launched, which was a really long time ago at this point. So it's very interesting. Hopefully it's that outfit, to be honest, because I don't really know when else they would ever try to add that outfit, if they even are going to add that specific one. But if there are outfits for any of these final boss, that could be really, really cool. Obviously, finished skins just means that they have, I guess, the looks of those final bosses done. So I don't know if they have the mechanics for them or anything like that set. But I think we're getting pretty close to the end of the Commandments ones at this point. If not, I think Zelda Sinesterosa might be the last ones. So it could be, I think Gerard and Matrona have the best chance of being the next ones after that. And then I guess, maybe they'll just try to do like one final boss a month or something like that. I feel like that's kind of what they've been trying to do recently. But yeah, I'm talking so much. New skins similar to final boss skins. So I think they're just adding new cosmetics for certain characters, maybe. I don't know exactly what he means by similar to final boss skins. Maybe they have that same sort of look or aesthetic to them. But Nanashi is going to be getting a new cosmetic, which he's been missing some cosmetics, which is kind of nice. I honestly think out of all of these units, they really should have added cosmetics for Death Pierce because he's still missing cosmetics, and he is like a spectacular backline unit that people use on a lot of teams. So it would be really nice to have more cosmetics for Death Pierce. But Nanashi, Hawk is very interesting because people really don't use this Hawk unless they're doing one of those events where they sort of boost his stats by 50% or whatever, and makes him really, really good for like PvE stuff. But Hawk is really interesting. Chandler might be getting new cosmetics. Cusack is getting new cosmetics, and then Liz. I'm pretty sure this is the regular green Liz, like the old like red-haired Liz that you use for death matches and stuff, which is actually pretty cool. I don't necessarily know that you would need it, considering she is literally just a PvE unit, and I feel like the only reason you would buy cosmetics is, one, if you're simping for the character and just want them to look good, or you would try to boost their CC. But in a situation, you know, where they're only used for deathmatch, I don't really think you would even want to buy this cosmetic, but I don't know. Very interesting. Lastly, we have other changes, which is artifacts, which effects is similar to food effects, only for PvE. So I think this is going to be maybe some sort of new system that they're going to try to work out. I guess they've just really taken it overboard, and they're trying to make an artifact or just some sort of mechanic that will go into every game mode. Like, we already have artifact cards, which can be used on PvP and PvE. We are getting, you know, holy relics, which can be only, or well, no, you can use holy relics in PvP and PvE as well. But I think their main use is probably going to be PvP. But then you're going to have apparently artifacts, which will be only PvE related. But I think a lot of the PvE stuff that we already have is pretty easy. Obviously, the new bird raid that they have on the JP and Korean versions of the game, which you use to get holy relic materials. I think this might be something for that, like combated towards the difficulty of that mode, because apparently it's really, really, really hard, which I could definitely understand. So maybe it's just going to be some sort of way for them to help players beat that raid, because from my understanding, there's only like a couple of people who have beat the last difficulty of it, and it's very hard. Like, people are saying that you pretty much have to wail out on units and have like maxed out ultimates for the really good characters to even be able to win. So yeah, I guess that is going to be something that they use to try to combat that. Materials for create relics in final boss exchange shop. So it looks like you're going to be able to get final boss points or whatever during final boss seasons and exchange those for the holy relic materials, which is kind of nice, because, you know, so far you can only get it from the bird raid, and, you know, I think it's something like 2 months or like 5 weeks or something like that you have to grind constantly, because you can only do it so many times per week to even be able to get enough of the materials to create a holy relic. And with them selling bundles and stuff like that, the whales have a huge advantage on buying those packs and making holy relics and stuff like that. So, you know, the more methods that they add to get these holy relic materials is going to be the better. It's going to make it a lot more free-to-play friendly, because obviously it's one of the biggest features in the game right now that are like super controversial, and people are not very happy about it. So if they make it to where you can get them from a lot more, you know, areas in the game, or, you know, just even if there's just like a small amount of them that you get here and there, but obviously the bird raid I think is going to be the biggest way to get them, that would honestly help. So, last but not least, we already kind of said it, but festival unit coming. It could probably be after the release of Grimmore, Hauser, and Gilthunder. So, I'm assuming they're probably going to bundle all of these units together in one banner. It's not very often that they do a triple release, but honestly, like I said, I don't really imagine these units being very, very good unless they become, or like, unless one of them is maybe like a new variant, like if it's a new variant of Gilthunder or Hauser or Grimmore, because the old units really have terrible base stats. A lot of their, you know, just, you know, kits and stuff like that are very outdated. The only ones that are even good anymore are some of the Gilthunders, and they're like only good for backslot units because of their passive. So yeah, I don't know necessarily if these are going to be even decent units that you're going to want to summon for, but there is potentially a festival coming, so just know. I would imagine if it's a regular festival, it's most likely going to be Gother, but well, since this is the first time that they're even talking about a new Liz, I would imagine it's going to be Gother. So yeah, just my 2 cents. Obviously, like I said, take all of this with a grain of salt. It's very subject to change if it even makes it to the game in general. So yeah, honestly, a lot of very interesting stuff. Sorry the video went on for so long, but it is, you know, pretty cool stuff that they're going over here. I always like to kind of see, you know, what the developer app may end up, you know, bringing in the future for the game. Obviously, some of this stuff is catered towards, you know, fixing some of the problems in the game already. This one being a big one, obviously, with the new bird raid being really hard. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously, the game isn't in the greatest spot. There's a lot of people that are really pissed off right now with some of the stuff that they've added recently on JP, but hopefully they'll get that all sorted out so that way they can, you know, make sure the game doesn't die. But anyway, that's it from me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know it was a bit of a longer video, so if you made it through the whole thing, thank you so much. Feel free to leave a like or, you know, whatever you want to do if you support. But that's it from me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to join me in the future, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you then.